Hi everyone, and welcome to Teens Talk Science. I'm Zofia.
And I'm Archie.
And we are both high school seniors. On this podcast, we discuss topics relevant to the modern scientific community from a teen's perspective. And today we'll be discussing global warming's causes and effects.
We'll also be touching base on how this affects us as teenagers.
So I think one of the most important things to talk about when we're discussing global warming and kind of how it was caused would be the Industrial Revolution, because that's really where this all started, using coal and other non-clean resources as energy. I feel like once we started doing that kind of set us on the path towards climate change and to the point that we are now.
Right, and we can definitely see the effects of global warming, such as California. The forests are on fire right now. There are places in California where the temperature is reaching 130 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's really, really crazy.
Yeah, people are losing their homes to these fires, and it's devastating. And really, one of the biggest reasons behind all of this is global warming. We're seeing record heat not just in California, but really across the entire West Coast, even on some parts of the East Coast.
And there's things like deforestation and other industries that are really, really contributing to this global warming. Because deforestation, there aren't enough trees to produce oxygen and take out some of that carbon dioxide that's in the atmosphere right now that's causing all this global warming.
Yeah, I definitely think that deforestation is one of the major contributors to global warming because, like you said, trees are so important to how the carbon cycle really works. And without them, with us limiting the amount of trees that there are, we're really taking away the Earth's ability to kind of combat what we are doing as we keep putting more and more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere.
And it sucks that a lot of these corporations and people who are causing all of this global warming, they aren't really doing much to, help stop global warming.
They're literally doing nothing to help stop global warming.
Yeah.
The majority of carbon dioxide really comes from factories and industry and all that kind of stuff. And these corporations are the ones that are funding that kind of stuff. It belongs to them. And the reason that they don't want to do anything is because it would cut into their profits.
Right, and it's not to say that it's just factories and corporations. We definitely have our own part in causing global warming. Using cars and burning a lot of fuel is definitely responsible for global warming, but it's not as big as corporations and factories.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. Using the car to drive to the grocery store 2 miles to get food is a lot different than dumping a bunch of toxic waste into a river.
Right, and there are some companies like Tesla who are making electric cars, but right now they're so expensive that it's not a financially feasible option for buyers out there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think one of the biggest problems with the electric car is that it is so expensive. If I have to choose between getting an electric car and being able to eat food, daily, obviously I'm going to choose food.
Right.
And that's a problem with a lot of the eco-friendly kind of things that companies are pushing out.
Right, solar panels are extremely expensive, and it makes it less attractive to purchase for people because it's just so expensive, and not many people are willing to consider that.
Right. There are appliances even that are $10,000 more expensive than just your average appliance, stove, stuff like that. And, if you're in a tight spot with money, you're just not going to spend that on an appliance when you can get something that will serve the same purpose, do the same things for a lot cheaper.
Exactly. And the big corporations that actually have the money to do this refuse to do anything because it's more expensive for them, and that's just not something that they want to do. So they're going to obviously try to take the cheaper way out of this.
Right, even though this is really where they should be investing, because otherwise there's not going to be a future for their companies or the world.
Right, and there are a couple projects out there that will help remove the carbon dioxide out of the air and help reverse the effects of global warming. I remember there was this one project that a Canadian company was working on where it would remove carbon dioxide from the air and store it underground or convert it into a carbon neutral fuel.
I remember reading about that. And, if I feel like if more companies were interested in doing stuff like that, then we might be able to get somewhere. We might be able to sort of negate some of the effects of global warming. But that's definitely in the minority. Like, I haven't heard of many private companies trying to do anything like that.
Right, so even though big corporations are the biggest contributor to global warming, there are things that the average person can do to reduce global warming.
That's true. Like, I know a lot of people use cars to get to work, but if if we switch to more like carpooling or public transportation, stuff like that, we'd still be leaving a carbon footprint, but it would definitely be a lot less than if every single person was driving to work every single morning or driving to school every single morning, just try and reduce the amount of cars on the road. I feel like that would definitely help.
Yeah, it would definitely be a step to, reducing the effects of global warming. And obviously there's still a lot more that we need to do, but I think it's a good start to start carpooling and, using bicycles or, just doing whatever you can to really reduce pollution.
Yeah, I agree. Just because big corporations contribute so much doesn't mean that the average person can just ignore any effects that they're possibly contributing to. So it's definitely something that we both need to hold corporations accountable for, but we also need to hold ourselves accountable for it.
Right. It's really important that everyone tries to reduce the carbon dioxide and pollution because the direction that the world is going in right now is really, really scary.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, a lot of the people who are making these decisions right now, especially when it comes to like legislation, they're not going to be the ones feeling the effects of climate change because we're the generation that's coming up and inheriting all of these issues.
Exactly. And like politics aside, I think that it's really, really important that we rejoin the Paris Climate Agreement because it's just so important that we reduce all of the effects that are happening right now.
I definitely agree. I think I'm glad that we rejoined the Paris Climate Agreement. That's great, but that's just one step. And I feel like there's definitely more that legislators can do. And for whatever the reason, it's just not happening.
Yeah, it's definitely important, and it was a good first step, but I think we definitely need to do more and take this a lot more seriously because what we're doing right now, it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think we need to do more because this is going to affect us for the rest of our lives. Carbon stays in the atmosphere for a long time, for hundreds of years, so this isn't an issue that's just going to go away.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
I guess we'll see what the future holds.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to Teens Talk Science. I hope you guys enjoyed this discussion and join us next time, so we'll see you there.